What's up guys, Mickle here, and the SEC is on a legendary losing streak right now. In this video, I want to talk about the SEC's latest loss and how it's going to impact things like the Ripple SEC case going forward. Guys, I also want to talk about Brad Garlinghouse's new interview where he speculated on an XRP ETF in 2025. In this video, I want to tell you guys why I am certain we will see an XRP ETF. I think you guys are going to like this a lot. Last of all, at the end of the video, I want to talk about a massive opportunity that is right around the corner that I believe is going to give us substantial opportunity to earn very large amounts of yield on our XRP. Make sure to stick around to the end video to see that. Guys, I think this could be extremely fruitful. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Thank you to everyone who takes the time to like the videos and subscribe to the channel. These two things really do help me out so much. Also, if you ever need a good place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my favorite exchange Uphold down in the description of this video. With that said, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So guys, I want to start out this video and just quickly announce a new partnership I have with Caleb and Brown. People are constantly asking me, Mickle, what are you going to do if Uphold goes down during the next bull run? How are you going to liquidate XRP? How are you going to sell and take profits? Guys, I believe Caleb and Brown is probably the best exchange out there for doing a large volume. So if you're pushing big amounts of XRP, I would typically say over 10 to 15,000 at a time. I would definitely consider signing up with Caleb and Brown and at least getting that relationship in place so that when the time comes, you can sell large amounts of XRP at once. Like I said, you probably don't need this if you are a smaller retail holder, if you're doing smaller amounts of XRP, but if you've run into issues before in the past in liquidating XRP, well, Caleb and Brown is probably the place for you, and there'll be an exchange down in the link in the description of this video. Guys, I want to get into it though and quickly jump into some very, very exciting news in terms of the SEC's losing streak. Guys, the SEC was just forced to shut down one of their offices because essentially everyone is leaving the agency. Guys, working at the SEC has become a stain on people's resume, and that is the worst thing that could happen to the SEC. At the end of the day, the power of an agency only comes down to the people working at that specific agency. The SEC's legal power only goes so far as the people they're able to bring in and litigate on behalf of the agency. The big problem for the SEC right now is they already have a massive talent issue. No one wants to work for the SEC. They have a bad reputation and they don't pay anything compared to the private sector. Well, guys, what we're seeing is the SEC's anti-crypto stance is pushing people out the door at an even faster rate. Guys, the SEC is losing so many people right now, they are closing down offices. And this is going to be devastating for their future high-profile cases against people like Ripple and Coinbase. Guys, the SEC has people coming in and out the door, while Ripple has had the same legal team since day one. The SEC could never get a story straight from the start of the Ripple SEC case. They were bouncing from opinion to opinion, never had any facts. They were throwing things at the wall, seeing what sticked, and ultimately just moving from argument without any reliable fact pattern and just saying whatever they possibly could to try to get the judge on their side. Guys, I have a feeling that's only going to increase while the quality of attorneys at the SEC continues to sink. Guys, we were worried at the start of the Ripple SEC case on what the SEC might bring to court. We were worried about the power of the legal teams at the SEC to go against some of these cryptocurrency companies. But what we have seen has kind of been a laughingstock for the entire industry. The SEC has failed to really deliver any good arguments against these cryptocurrency companies. And I have a feeling that is only going to get harder and harder for the SEC as they lose their top tier talent. Ultimately, really good for the industry, really good for the SEC essentially not able to continue moving forward with a lot of these litigation tactics against future players in the industry. But ultimately, I just wanted to bring this to your attention because it kind of shows that the empire is weakening. I want to move on though and talk about the interview of Brad Garlinghouse that happened earlier today, because the big news out of this interview is Brad Garlinghouse saying there's probably going to be an XRP ETF in 2025. Now, I kind of thought this was what he was going to say. There was no way Brad Garlinghouse was going to come out on Fox Business and say, oh, we were talking to BlackRock the other day. They said the ETF filing was coming sometime next week, so get ready for it. Clearly, that was never going to happen. Brad Garlinghouse can only speculate on whether or not he thinks there's going to be an XRP ETF, which I believe his speculation is probably correct. Guys, XRP is a top-tier cryptocurrency, and it has massive institutional and retail interest. There is no doubt in my mind there is going to be an XRP ETF, and the biggest thing we're waiting on right now for there to be an XRP ETF is ultimately Gary Gensler leaving the SEC. Gary Gensler is going to do everything in his power to stifle the industry, and for things like XRP, right? He's just going to do everything he can to hold it back, to try to let Bitcoin through the door and slam it on everything else. But what we are seeing behind the scenes is that once we get a logical SEC chair in place, there is no doubt in my mind there's going to be an XRP ETF. This is from the Faster Payments Council just the other day, and I think this is really going to show you how significant of a player Ripple is becoming in the future financial system and how big the desire for an XRP ETF is going to be. The Faster Payments Council, which is essentially a council of payment members working the Federal Reserve, put out a post the other day where they said companies like Ripple, Visa, and MasterCard are likely to dominate the future payment space. Guys, the fact that Ripple is being put on the same playing field as someone like a Visa or a MasterCard is shocking and extremely telling how far Ripple has progressed behind the scenes. A lot of people have a really hard time understanding that most big institutions are simply not telling you they are working with Ripple. Most big institutions don't want the regulators to know they are working with XRP. And that's not just speculation. We have heard it time after time. In this interview right here with the CEO of Uphold, Simon McLaughlin, he directly says that right now Uphold and Ripple are working with tier 1 financial players in the US financial system to utilize XRP for settlement via cross-border payments, but he can't tell you who those players are, and the reason he can't tell you who those players are regulatory reasons. Guys, the traditional financial players in the system right now know this system is changing, and they know that Ripple is going to be one of the leading companies working with people like Visa and MasterCard and the other banks to make that transformation happen. They know they don't want to be left in the dust, and they are going to do everything they can to work with Ripple in the meantime to set up proof of concepts, to set up tests, and do everything they need to do to make sure the systems are ready when the time comes. But they need to make sure the regulators are not looking at them and saying, hey, you're going too fast. Hey, you're working with Ripple in the middle of the case. We're going to go after you next. So these different institutions are taking it slow and doing it behind the scenes. And a lot of people in the retail space seem to think this means, oh, Ripple's not making any progress. Oh, Ripple only talks about these things. There's not happening. Guys, Ripple is just not marketing what is happening behind the scenes to you. They are not a retail focused company. They are an institutionally focused company. And they do not get anything out of telling you their biggest developments. They release developments when their partners are ready. When their partners give them the okay, Ripple makes it public. And that is simply not going to happen until we get clarity for these institutions to interact in this space. Guys, the institutions are obviously using Ripple and XRP. We have heard institution after institution allude to that happening behind the scenes. We have heard Ripple's partners tell us, like Simon McLaughlin right here, that that's happening behind the scenes. And we have seen leaked document after leaked document saying these things are happening. Guys, I fully understand that Ripple is making massive strides behind the scenes in pushing cryptocurrency adoption. Right now, a lot of those players don't want it to be public, but that is fine. When the rules get updated, when Gary Gensler is out of the SEC, I believe all the excitement is going to come rushing into the players making real strides to transform the financial system, Ripple and XRP being at the front of that push. And guys, I want to finish this video off and talk about one more thing that I believe is extremely exciting, and that is F assets. Guys, F assets are going to allow us to issue our XRP on the FLR network and generate yield for doing that. I believe this is one of the most exciting opportunities out there. It is going to bring smart contracts to XRP. It's going to bring DeFi to XRP. It's going to bring all kinds of new ways for us to use our XRP. Now, guys, there's no doubt that this is going to be a complicated process. There's no doubt there's going to be a lot of things you need to pay attention to here. And there's no doubt that a lot of people are probably going to make mistakes and lose money. So besides me telling you to be ultra careful, to make sure you're careful of what you click on, to make sure you understand what products you're getting into, well, the only other thing I can offer you is actually a financial relationship with the firm I'm working with, Digital Wealth Partners. We're almost done setting everything up for that. And what that will allow you to do is actually meet with me, work with me, talk with me on an individual basis on exactly how you can utilize some of these yield generating products without getting yourself into trouble. Guys, everyone thinks they're an expert until something bad happens. And sometimes it pays to take the time, take some resources to to work with someone who understands what's happening to make sure you do not make any mistakes. Digital Wealth Partners was designed for that exact reason, and also to give you a leg up on everything you have now. Institutional grade custody, insurance on your account, multi-signature authentication, tax mitigation. All these things are being wrapped into a wealth management cryptocurrency focused firm that I believe has the ability to really transform a lot of people's experience in this asset class. If you're someone who doesn't like holding millions of dollars on a ledger or hundreds of thousands of dollars on a ledger, whatever you have, and you don't feel comfortable going on to all these different DeFi protocols, typing in wallet addresses, moving large amounts of money from point A to point B, and not really understanding what's behind any of these protocols, guys, this is going to be an outstanding product for you. And I know a lot of people are going to go asking, hey, how do I get involved? How do I get involved? Don't worry, it is going to be abundantly clear. I just want to bring to you guys some of the things we're going to be able to offer, because I think a lot of people are probably seeing the opportunities in the crypto space emerging and saying, hey, I want to get involved, but I don't know where to start. Guys, that relationship has always in the TradFi space started with a financial advisor. We're looking to bring those same things to the cryptocurrency space so that you can invest in these markets with confidence and not worry about a lot of the scams, frauds, and just mistakes we have seen in the crypto asset space before in the past. So guys, really exciting stuff around the corner. And if you want to be someone who capitalizes on this exciting stuff without putting yourself at risk, well, then I think it would be really, really awesome to explore a relationship with Digital Wealth Partners and yourself. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. It really does mean so much. And for now, Mickle out.